I tweeted the link correctly and everything.
Very nice.
I'm going to share the tweet and everything.
There it is.
Sent it right to you guys for easy access, but I'm sure you have it.
Yes.
We have a viewer. We have a viewer.
This is not Southern Cooking with Paula Dean.
More better.
I'm Paula Dean.
Pops.
Just in case.
All right. Well, guess what? We're live. It's the open bar. It's Tuesday. It's 9:42 Eastern. Is this world record timing as far as how early we're starting, JMic? Because feeling pretty gosh darn good about it. Might just get out of here within 2 hours as well.
I think we can certainly shoot for that today. We've got special time constraints today, so if we don't get out in 2 hours, we might have a riot on our hands.
Not only that, but we are on tornado watch. So we'll get into that in just a moment. But JMic, my man, how are you doing?
Bro, it feels like it's been forever.
Well, I was writing the description for the show, and I said I started off saying what month was it, because I'm seriously still kind of unsure. So at any point in time, y'all can say that, and we can move on. But it has been a while. It's been a while. There's been spring breaks. There's been what other things have we missed? Why have we missed shows?
I believe last week one of us celebrated a birthday, and it wasn't me.
Oh, get out of town. Get out of town.
Yeah, happy birthday, Gabe. How did you spend your birthday? What'd you do? Tell me you did something fun, ate some cake, slept in, something, anything.
Well, I taught.
Not the best fit.
Not the best fit. I did get a cake from a student, German. Yikes. Okay, let's start this episode over. To the open bar. A German chocolate cake, my favorite cake. And then this past weekend we had a Big Lebowski themed party. So if you don't think I'm the gearing of all time, that's just kind of like your opinion, man.
That's what's up, man. I'm glad you got to celebrate it well. Happy birthday. That's good.
Thank you.
Good
and I shout out to so many people on Twitter that were wishing me happy birthday. That was very, very kind of everyone, and I appreciate it greatly. More people on Twitter than my friends and family on Facebook, which is kind of insane. So I think I know where my friends and family are now. Well, how could I be so rude? We have 3 guests. We have one guest. I'm worried about him right now. I hope this live show doesn't turn into like a horror movie, like Sharknado of sorts. But it is the Svoboda. My man, how are you doing?
Hey. I escaped brush of death this evening. Had 2 tornadoes today. 2. The one wasn't enough.
Right.
They came back for round 2.
I told you privately in the DM that it's the wrong kind of touchdown that we like as far as
no fantasy points from this one. I was bummed.
Negative Svobodas potentially. We cannot have that. So I'm happy to have you. If you have to go into a basement or something, please go and do it.
You hear me oh shit. I'm like
I mean, we appreciate your dedication, but there's no need to die and see Jesus from a podcast because you didn't want to go out, take cover when you needed to.
My house is pretty good. It's only 150 years old, so it'll stay up.
I can't tell if you're filming Blair Witch or if you're actually home. So, I mean.
Well, I would turn up the brightness for the video for everybody, but then you'd see how messy my house is, so I can't have that.
All right. Well, second guest, first time appearance, first time meeting this fine young fellow that I really just want to talk about the beard because my goodness gracious. Neal from the Clock Dodgers pod. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? I appreciate you guys for having me on. I've been wanting this to happen for a long time, and obviously people keep recommending it and throwing it at us. So I'm glad that we can, finally make it happen. So I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Dude, absolutely. Literally, this podcast tonight is for the First Lady, Casey Kasem. This podcast. I don't even care who's watching. JMic, go into the YouTube chat right now and just kick those guys out because I just want Casey.
That's it.
I'm kidding.
I'll just tell them bye, y'all.
Just stick around because we need some interaction. Well, not a guest, a previous guest from the Open Bar, but a previous guest on when I was doing a podcast.
A reunion of sorts.
A Grab Bag Fantasy podcast. Renshaw, who's now doing his own podcast. That's typically what happens when you become a guest on the Grab Bag Fantasy pod. But Dynasty Dad himself, what's up, dude?
What's going on? JMic, we kind of have that in common, don't we? That's where we started. We got our start with Gabe.
It all started way back when, a long, long time ago on a place called Grab Bag Fantasy.
GBF.
Look at that.
Oh, good. Just a week ago.
Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Renshaw, does that make us like alumni?
Ooh.
Like graduates of GBFU?
Of Mr. Gaming's podcast training.
Podcast training. Yeah. Yeah.
Similar.
Welcome. Congratulations, Matt. You've graduated. You've made it to the Open Bar podcast.
I got my diploma.
This is a nearly dead time for football. We've kind of hit combine. We're pro days a little bit. Free agency is kind of over, but then there are some things that have happened today and recently. Draft later this month. Hyped for that. JMic, we've got a few guests already lined up for this month because we have an agent, NFL draft talker, Jake himself. So keep a lookout for us the rest of the month. We'll be around. We'll be here to party with you all. So
serving your needs on Tuesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Tuesday, but really, who's to say? You guys want to talk about what happened today, or do you guys want to talk about anything that's going on in your life? I am your therapist. Anything you'd like to share, this is what the Open Bar is for.
We're here for you.
No, how about just Brandon Cooks then? Because I don't like to talk about my feelings.
Yeah. Well, ultimately. Okay. Well, if this is news to you, I'm sure it's not. Brandon Cooks was traded to the Los Angeles Rams. Patriots got a first-round pick, the 23rd. Yeah.
Yep. 23rd overall.
And a switch of a 4th and 6th round pick as well to throw that in. We were kind of talking about it off air about Patriots. We can talk about everything: the teams, the Rams, the Cooks, the Kenny Britts. I think we can cover just about everything tonight. So feel free to jump in and begin.
Can I start by saying this? As soon as Brandon Cooks lands in LA, I think that Tavon Austin is going to look at him and dude, there can only be one of us. There can only be one. Okay.
Spider-Man.
So, yes, that has to happen, right?
How bad is he going to feel when he restructured his contract and then they cut him?
Yeah, I don't think Tavon Austin is sticking around for long.
No.
Nor is he fantasy relevant much anymore. But former Ram Stedman Bailey, am rooting for that guy to come back. Just read an article about him. So I think, JMic, I'm kind of upset that you said that initially about Tavon Austin and Brandon Cooks. What are you thinking, dude?
Never mind. You guys. We have guests. You guys go for it. Neal, tell us what you're thinking about Brandon Cooks to the Rams.
I guess Brandon Cooks. I guess the best way to kind of look at it is, it's kind of like a car, like a new car. It has all this value when it's on the lot, but as soon as you drive it off, it kind of loses a lot of it. That's how I'm kind of feeling with Brandon Cooks right now. He has all this value on the Patriots, and then you put him on the Rams, and I'm just not feeling that same value anymore. Does that make sense? So I think it takes a hit. I think it takes a hit for sure.
I mean, how big of a hit? Because we really saw that offense turn around like immensely with the McVay addition. And I mean, the Patriots obviously always going to be elite in terms of their offense, but I guess as long as Brady's around, as far as we know. And but I don't know. Watkins is gone, and I know Watkins didn't have a successful year at the Rams, but he had a lot of the coverage. So Woods seemed to succeed. I mean, can Cooks be that guy? It seems like he really isn't. Maybe we should accept that he's just not a number one guy. But can he be successful in LA?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he can be successful. It's just how successful. I don't know if the Rams are gonna like make him a priority in that sense. They like to spread the ball around. They got Gurley. They just got a lot going on there now, and the defense is going to be super competitive. So it's not like I feel like they're not really going to have to rely on the offense to score that many points with the way they're building that defense. So I think he definitely takes a hit coming from the Patriots to the Rams. It's not like he's a complete waste or anything like that now, but he definitely takes a hit. But he still has value, of course. I think he'll do Watkins' numbers or better probably, but definitely a hit, I think, for sure.
And especially a hit from Tom Brady to Jared Goff. I mean, Goff bounced back, we can say, but I think it was due to the fact of a little bit of a McVay offense running behind Gurley, kind of controlling the clock. The defense was elite, put him in good situations. Right. I mean, I don't know if we can really hold our hats on Cooks with Goff. So exactly.
Does anybody think his stock goes up? I'm curious to hear that argument. I'm interested in that. If you got something,
Chris, you got anything?
No, definitely not in the Cooks department. That's for sure.
I'm just saying.
For me, he drops to he's like a wide receiver 3 for me now, going from Brady to Goff. The offense. I mean, the offensive weapons. Granted, there were a lot of them in New England, but. You got Kupp, you got Woods, you got Gurley. He's a high end. Like he can blow up and win you a week, but there may be weeks where you play him and he scores 3 points. So I'm downgrading him quite a bit. And then going from Brady to Goff is never an upgrade. So in any department, I can't think of any way that Goff is better than Brady.
Should you just make a Cooper Kupp argument? Renshaw?
As much as if anyone listens to the podcast, I'm not a big Cooper Kupp fan, but the guy has shown that he can get his targets. He's the next slot machine out there. But I don't. If Sammy Watkins would have done anything, which I feel like we've said every single year for Sammy Watkins' career, maybe I'd feel differently about Cooks being there. But I don't like it from a fantasy perspective. I'm sure the Rams are happy, and I'm sure they're going to sign him to a nice big contract extension in the coming days. But perspective.
What I find interesting, and shouts out to the folks at DLF, Dynasty League Football, and their March ADP data, they've got Brandon Cooks. Looks like he was wide receiver 24. According to this, wide receiver 24.
24th overall.
No. Wide receiver. No, excuse me. You're right. Excuse me. Yeah. Wide. Low. Yeah. 24th player overall, which I find absolutely insane. But that would have put him at wide receiver 13. Wow. Wide receiver 13. What I find interesting about that is well, first of all, RIP to the 2018 Josh Reynolds breakout. But besides that, the fact that what do the Rams feel like they're missing that they needed to give up their first this year for Cooks? And I recognize with these guys they bring on, maybe it's a shedding salary type of deal. Maybe they don't want to bring on the first rounder for whatever that salary is going to be. But I don't understand the motivation aside from just bringing on another highly talented guy, which I guess isn't a bad thing, but I feel like you have the pieces in LA to make it happen.
Maybe they just felt like they needed that field stretcher that Watkins was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cooper Kupp's not a burner.
Watkins, so a healthy Watkins.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't like Watkins wasn't getting open. He was open. They just didn't take shots.
And as far as contract goes, they're gonna they have to sign into a long-term deal, right? Didn't they just lose Watkins? They traded a second-round pick for Watkins and didn't keep him. And I mean, they're getting another contract year wide receiver. They've got to sign him, right? Like that only makes sense.
Not only did the Rams lose Watkins, but we have lost the Svoboda, and I am freaking out because if he's a tornado, I'm not gonna like that.
No.
Svoboda! Everyone
Don't die, Chris.
There you go.
Okay, he's back.
Svoboda!
Hey,
Oh my God.
I got the old. He's dead, Jim.
You can't
He's
do
dead.
that.
I'm
You
sorry.
can't do that.
Yeah, that's really not cool.
Not
If we're
at
being
all.
honest, that is not cool.
Not cool.
Chrome died.
Okay.
That was grade A recovery. I should get mad points for that. I was back on it.
Oh
You
man.
guys want to see my sweet Lazarus trick? Watch this.
So what were we talking about? Svoboda, you got me.
Watkins, the field stretcher. That's what it was.
You're right. Losing Watkins and replacing him with Cooks. What do we think about? I mean, JMic, you said Cooks was 13th wide receiver overall, and you sound like he. And by the way, I was just looking at Ryan McDowell's third, because they're doing April ADP right now, and it looks like he landed in the third round at 303. That was pre-trade. I think he will drop down a little bit further, I would think. But do you think that he stays in the third round? And are y'all still avoiding that in the third round?
And just to give you guys some context in case you're not able to look at it, the wide receivers that he's going in front of, at least for March, I can't see the April stuff that you see, Gabe. He's going in front of Allen Robinson, Corey Davis.
Not more on this one, but yeah. They're right.
Jarvis Landry, Juju Smith-Schuster, Adam Thielen, Alshon.
I'll take him
And
over
T.Y.
everyone but Alshon.
Okay. So you still feel so you're still bullish on
Oh,
him.
no, I'm so sorry. I said that backwards. I'll take everybody.
I was like, what? I was like, did I hear that right?
Everybody over Cooks except Alshon because I hate Alshon.
I was like, okay.
That was
Hot takes.
Extremely.
I'm all about the
Fire.
contradiction.
Fire.
Hot takes. Boom, 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 boom. Firing them off.
I just find it so interesting. They were raving about let's rewind 4 years. They're raving about him in Saints camp. We're getting all these glowing puff pieces about how dynamic he is, how he's killing every cornerback, this, that, and the third. Fast forward, he's on his third team in 4 years, 3 years, third team in 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Man,
So bizarre.
that is like is he knocking up like coaches' wives or something? Like what's something's got to be going on. There's got to be more to this.
You would think so. It just seems like a case of hot potato. Just toss them around every year.
Let's see. 14th wide receiver in 2015. 10th wide receiver in 2016. What was he last year? 13th, 14th or so. I mean, he's hovering right around that wide receiver 13 that he is currently in ADP, but I think that everyone is tripping because he's moving around from team to team, and that's fair. Players don't succeed when they move immediately to the team. It usually takes a couple years, and even then it's still not that great after they've landed in a new spot. He's done it twice now. So it makes sense to be a little, on edge about this, but I mean, he's still putting up numbers, but with a Drew Brees and a Tom Brady.
Yeah,
There's 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Jared Goff's not a Hall of Famer.
Yet.
No.
We're with you, Jared.
So So obviously when we look at the offense for LA, and then here in a second, I hope we can flip it on its head to go to New England.
Yeah.
We're looking at Cooper Kupp. We're looking at Robert Woods. We're looking at I think everybody's still holding out hope for the tight ends there, Higbee and Everett.
Yeah.
You insert Cooks and obviously the bell cow himself, Todd Gurley. Who's the wide receiver that you're actually buying in this offense if you're only choosing one?
Oh, that's gonna pain me to say it, but if I'm playing in a PPR league, I'll buy Kupp.
Ooh,
and that hurts to say.
Ooh,
that really does.
Renshaw. You had to swallow some pride there.
I know, because I'm not a fan of Kupp, but yeah, I think
apparently you are now.
Nah, if you're making me pick one, I got to take one. I'd go with Kupp just because of the amount of receptions that he's got. Like I said, Cooks will win you some weeks, but I'll take the steady 5-6 receptions for 50 to 80 yards, possible touchdown there. I'll take the consistent guy.
All right.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad.
I'm fucking mad at that.
I am irate. I want to speak with a manager.
Oh, why didn't the Patriots just trade Brandon Cooks for Cooper Kupp?
Yeah.
There you go. That would have been too Patriot-like right there, honestly.
I would have been so exactly. Patriot. Oh,
that
my.
So Patriots.
Chris, who are you taking?
Oh, you know I'm taking Robert Woods.
Okay.
Everybody knows me, knows I'm taking Robert Woods. The guy averaged 2 more points a game, 2 PPR points, I should say, per game than Cooper Kupp. The problem was Woods played like 11 games, I think it was, something like that. He had 85 targets to Cooper Kupp's 94. You know, he missed like I said, 4 or 5 games. I think he goes over 100 targets easily, probably over 110. Wow. Brandon Cooks, I think Sammy Watkins had, 70 targets last year, something like that. So Brandon Cooks, maybe a little bit more than that, like 80, 85, but I'm easily taking Woods, especially his price. He's got to be cheaper than Cooks and Kupp. You can probably get him for early second.
Woods currently going after both guys in ADP. Again, March ADP data from DLF. Robert Woods going at wide receiver 36. 36, y'all.
That is ridiculously low.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cooper
low.
Kupp at 28. So, man, that's interesting. Who's your pick, Neal? Who's your receiver in this offense you're going with this year?
I mean, at that value, I probably would go Woods, honestly. I don't know, man. I'm not big on Cooks. I've never been crazy about Cooks. I don't know if it's the hopping around. I don't know if it's the risk of injury. I'm not sure what it is, but I just never been crazy about him. I think Kupp is probably the safest, but I mean, at Woods at that value, it is hard to pass up. Yeah. Woods.
Cooks is the youngest wide receiver here, which is fascinating.
Which is crazy too. That's crazy too.
I was surprised to see Robert Woods still only be 25 years old. I thought he might have been a year or two older. I guess I just forget that the Buffalo days just like completely ruined him. It's like as if this is like that was his rookie year in LA or his second year or whatever. And but I mean, Cooks is still the youngest. He's shown that he can be a top 15 guy. I mean, I know he has the boomer bust kind of feel to him, but and maybe we shouldn't be buying wide receivers. Maybe we should actually be buying Jared Goff. He was the 9th quarterback last year, and he has all the weapons to succeed. Will he? I'm not sure, but he seemed to be okay last year, and maybe that will continue.
All the weapons. So unless you guys are just wanting to wax eloquent a little bit more about Cooper Kupp, Matt, I'll give you the quick chance.
Let's get off of the cup.
Put your chalice in the air.
So let's go to New England for a second. Obviously, Julian Edelman was out all last season. People were wondering how he and Cooks would coexist, how that would look in terms of, is it possible they occupy the same areas of the field? Now we don't have to worry about that problem. Are we all in on Julian Edelman again?
I wouldn't say all in. No, the guy I want there is still Chris Hogan. Production the last 2 years or so, everybody hates him. I think I just saw him go for like 211 in one of my leagues. And outside of Julian Edelman, who may be full health, maybe. I expect
and 31 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I expect the Patriots to add somebody, but it's Tom Brady, Chris Hogan, shown it before. He's the one I want.
Which one at the 4? Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Chris Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be sleeping on Cordell Patterson now.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I want to be here for that so bad, though.
Running back, Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, exactly.
I would not forget about Malcolm Mitchell either.
There you go.
That's a legit one. That's a legit one.
I just looked at his ADP. It is 246.
That's absurd.
That's barely
free.
I'm sure that he takes a small bump for Cook's leaving, but like not much. I mean, he was pretty successful as a rookie, and that's difficult to do in New England. So I would totally get, and really, I know all these will bump up now that Cooks is gone, but all these wide receivers are cheap. Edelman and Mitchell, or can't stop thinking about Mitchell and Hogan in the 130s, 140s, but my goodness.
And then you think about the fact that Amendola is not there anymore. So,
right.
Like you said, are they going to draft someone, or just someone just going to rise out of nowhere, like, and be relevant for him? Like it's going to happen.
They're going to add a guy that's a camp cut, is my guess.
Yeah,
they're going to add Matt Renshaw.
You know what I mean? Yeah, bring me in.
Matt Renshaw off the street, and he's about to go for
Hey,
805.
I'm just going to stand there and throw me the ball, Brady. I'll catch it. No, I don't know if I like any of our receivers more. I mean, like you guys have said, they're bringing in somebody. I think it makes me like Gronk even more. I mean, no big weapon. He's coming back. Obviously, with this trade, they're not gonna cut him. They're not gonna trade him, and maybe Belichick's listening and gonna say, nope, I'm not listening to Renshaw. But I just, it makes me like Gronk even more. He's their big weapon, and continues it. I mean, he's probably their highest paid. I don't know what Edelman's getting paid, but I just like, I think Gronk's gonna eat this year.
Sure.
Shout out to everyone in the chat real fast. I'm gonna sneak this in. Jake, and I completely forgot about this guy. Don't forget about Philip Dorsett sneaking around the chicken coop there in New England.
Who?
I thought that was the Brandon Cooks clone.
Who?
I'm sorry. I just sneezed. My bad, Chris.
No, I don't like Phil Dorsett.
Not many people do. His mom barely does, but it's cool.
Shout out to Phil Dorsett's mom, then.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Dorsett. She's probably a lovely woman. No disrespect to you or your son, man. Who's your all's wide receiver one in Dynasty?
Hopkins.
Ooh,
Hopkins.
I'm OBJ.
Oh, you got to put me on the spot here, JMic. Odell.
Yeah.
O.B. Jizzle.
Now, if he ended up in L.A., I would have been on the Hopkins train. But
Yeah, that's true. Hey, I'm still holding on to the San Francisco dream. Maybe one day.
wouldn't that be great?
Let me ask this: does he? And just a quick yes or no. Does he begin the season on the Giants roster? Yes or no?
Yes, at this point, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And if y'all are deciding between these two, think about this same question 1 year ago between OBJ and Mike Evans, and that should answer your question. Who's still here?
Yeah.
Okay. It's ridiculous.
There's a common denominator.
OBJ is the 101. Hopkins had a great season, but someone dipped and someone didn't. It's pretty clear cut to me who the 101 is. And I who don't care which team he's on. He's still 101. Good.
Great.
Grand. Wonderful.
Fantastic.
No yelling on the bus. Past the first grade.
What is that from?
Billy Madison, JMic. Get out of the hole.
Come on.
Well, you never seen Billy Madison?
Part of the Adam Sandler Bermuda Triangle of movies.
What's the third one?
Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore,
Yeah.
and The Waterboy.
Mm.
Or
That's
Big
fair.
Daddy, whichever one you want to use.
I was.
No, you gotta go
Or
Waterboy.
Mr. D's. Any of those.
It sounds like it's turned into a Bermuda Pentagon or
Pentagon?
hexagon,
Yeah,
potentially.
you're the math teacher, right? You know that stuff.
But seriously, you guys are wheels up on OBJ, 25-year-old guy. Does any of this stuff with
Robert
the weed and
Woods is
coke
25
have
years
you
old.
guys nervous?
No. Who doesn't
Okay.
do weed and coke?
It was
Matt, you got
Parmesan.
kids.
It was Parmesan and parsley. Okay,
Yeah.
we just need to
Sausage.
chill.
He was smoking some sausage.
Wow.
No, that doesn't bother me at all. I assume every big name wide receiver's doing something illegal that's covering up somewhere.
All right.
Man.
I mean, no, I'm not nervous. So no.
That was certainly interesting and could definitely raise an eyebrow here and there. Definitely dependent on what he was smoking there, Renshaw sausage.
Yeah.
Interesting. But
That's-
as far as what he might relate to in the past, like, I mean, do people talk like this about Terrell Owens and how he was just a perennial top 5 wide receiver? And I mean, what's wrong with what he's doing right now? I guess what's making people sweat?
I guess they're old. I don't know. That's why it took T.O. so long to get in the hall, right?
True.
I think
Very
it's just
true.
all the extracurricular stuff. I think, like you said, people are old fashioned. They want guys to just be quiet and catch footballs, and he's busy dancing.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah, he's
Ah.
dancing and hopscotching and everything else. And
Let him do his thing. It's entertaining. Come on. I'd be more
This is
scared of that
true.
kicking net come smack him upside the head again.
Jake, again, NFL Draft Talker on Twitter. Jake's in the chat. And again, for those that are catching this in a podcast version, we do have a live version of the show that we do Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on the YouTube, as the old people say. Same people who are angry at Odell for his antics are the same people who call it the YouTube and the Twitter. But Jake wants us to talk through how he feels like his boy Adam Thielen is being disrespected. Adam Thielen currently going wide receiver 18 in March ADP per DLF. Is Adam Thielen being disrespected, guys?
How much?
Yeah, I
higher,
think so.
How much higher do you want him, Jake?
yeah.
Well, if we rewind, what was it, 4 months? We were looking, and Thielen was, or 5 months. Thielen was what, wide receiver 2 at the time? I'm pretty sure it was like Hopkins, Brown, and him, like right there, because we were talking. I'm pretty sure on one of the episodes we were talking through how they were top 3 in points per game last year, at least at toward the end of the season. And right now he's going at wide receiver, like I said, 18, and he just got what I would consider a giant upgrade at quarterback. What do we?
So here's a question: would anybody here take Thielen over Cooks, or vice versa? Are we all on board with one over the other?
I take Thielen over Cooks.
Thielen over Cooks, yes.
Yep. Yeah, me too.
I don't know the answer to this question. So if any of you do, help me out. But how many top 10 wide receivers has Kirk Cousins ever had in his career? Like fantasy-wise.
I don't know. Top.
That's got to be like almost none. That's the Redskins fan.
That's the Redskins.
That's got to be, it's got to be none because there was always Jordan Reed in the passing game whenever he was on the field. It was spread the ball, spread.
Yeah, I would imagine I know Crowder had a decent year, but only there's no way that he went up to a top 10. He had to be in a wide receiver too. And I know D-Jax and Garcon that were kind of injured the whole time. So I don't think he's had a top 10 wide receiver. But I also kind of think, nah. it's not necessarily a fair argument. Diggs and Thielen are kind of seem to be in their prime and healthy, and that he hasn't had really receivers like that, and been part of a prolific offense. It seems like he kind of led the way as far as anything in that nature.
No, it definitely was all Cousins in Washington, and I think if anything hurts Thielen, it's probably the downgrade in passing volume as a whole with their good defense and Dalvin Cook. They never had a running back like Dalvin Cook in Washington while he was there. So he was throwing the ball 35 times a game. He may throw the ball 25 to 28 times a game in Minnesota. So that may cap Thielen's upside a little bit.
Can we talk about the lack of continuity in Minnesota? Right? So Shermer out as OC.
Yeah.
Yep.
What you say, Renshaw?
I said, yeah, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. It may take a year. I don't know if Jake wants to hear that.
Let me ask you guys this. Speaking of disrespected, would you rather have Diggs or would you rather have Thielen?
Diggs.
On your dynasty team?
Diggs.
I think it's.
I traded Thielen.
I understand that Thielen's outproduced him. Did he outproduce him 2 years ago as well, or was it a little bit closer? I know it happened last year, but I think Diggs, just based off of age, is fair. I know it's kind of just cliche to say that he's kind of at his age apex at 27 years old for Thielen, but it's real. Guys come and go like this all the time. Who's to say he's going to be a Larry Fitzgerald? Whereas Larry Fitzgerald correlates to have breaking out earlier than Adam Thielen did. So and that's why Fitzgerald's stuck around longer. So you can't really, I feel like Thielen's a come and go type of guy. I'm sorry, Jake.
Ouch.
A come and go type of guy.
Ouch.
Just to answer your question, Gabe, Diggs had more catches back in 2016. 84 to 69. But Thielen got him in yards that year. And then, of course, he got him in yards and catches in 2017. Thielen got Diggs last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like they're like almost exact here. I'm looking at some sort of PPR league, and they're within 2 or 3 points. So pretty much right there the same.
Well, and for me, Diggs is a free agent next year. So, and maybe he blows up in Minnesota and all the Vikings fans are happy. But if he can get out of there and go somewhere and be the true number one, if we're looking at production and capability and whatnot, but if he can go somewhere and get an upgrade, it wouldn't hurt.
Give me Laquan Treadwell at 199th overall.
Hey, the return.
No, Kendall Wright just passed him.
I was like, didn't they just sign somebody?
Yeah, Kendall Wright.
The dream will never die.
So that's a really interesting point, though. With Diggs, this is probably his last season there because, like Tyler Gunther just shouted out on the chat here. Thinking about all the guys that they have to try to bring back while paying Cousins 20-some-odd guaranteed $1 million per season. They've got Anthony Barr coming up. They've got Eric Kendricks coming up. Danielle Hunter coming up. Is Diggs going to settle for who knows? Who knows what he'll settle for? Who knows what this offense is going to look like with a healthy Dalvin Cook? Who knows if the offensive line doesn't go back to being that really crappy 2016 version that they were versus the really good 2017 version? There's so many questions.
Jake knows.
There's just so many questions. I really like all the pieces. I just feel like there's a lot to be answered, right? Am I crazy for saying that?
No. Diggs got to stay.
No, they're going to change a lot in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and Diggs has to stay healthy. Yeah, and I'm calling it right now. 2019, the year of Treadwell.
Okay.
Yes.
Book it.
I was
You
just a
heard
year
it
early.
here first.
And a quick note on Dalvin Cook. I mean, yes, he played great last year, but for 4 games,
Right.
I mean, wow. I'm looking at ADP 16 overall. I mean, my goodness, that's a lot of respect.
Here, very, very relevant trade alert over here. I just made deals involving Cook and Thielen recently.
Oh,
You might have
snap.
seen
Let's
them
hear
on
it.
the Twitter. So I sold Dalvin Cook in just a normal 12-team PPR, 1 QB, for 105, 106, Aaron Jones, and Matt Breida.
Yes, please.
So I thought that was a fair haul, looking towards 2019. So just thought, don't need the running back. And then in that very same league, actually, I sold Thielen for Devin Funchess, Gabe's boy, 113. And so it's like the 201. And then a 19 first.
Yeah.
Well done.
Nice. Nicely
So,
played.
I mean, Cook, very, very respected. And in that case, Thielen was respected. So Jake should like that one.
Jake, your boy's not as disrespected as you think, but he's totally as disrespected, if not more, than you think at the same time.
Gabe, who
It's not
do
confusing
you
at
like
all.
around Cook's ADP better as far as running backs?
I was just kind of looking at that a little bit, and I like McCaffrey over Cook.
Check.
I've never been a huge Melvin Gordon fan. I'm surprised that Freeman dropped that far. I'm not necessarily for Freeman either, but I just think I think he's more. I wouldn't say that I necessarily like him more than these guys or less than these guys, but I think it's not an RB versus RB. I think it's actually the other players in between that I would take over Cook. And I think he's put in this tier of like Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey. And I don't think he's there yet. Off of 4 games is very, very generous. So I'd put him more down in like Derrick Henry, Jordan Howard, some other guys down there. Mark Ingram's too far, but maybe like a top 40.
Don't get carried away.
I don't know. There's just I think that's a lot of respect for 4 games. That's I believe in the talent, but I'm just not paying a 2nd-round pick for that. That's all.
Can we go through the running backs real fast just to see who you take over these guys? Okay, because I find that interesting. So I'm not even going to talk about the. Oh, we can't. Sorry. I'll mute. My bad.
Okay, go ahead.
Alvin Kamara or Dalvin Cook?
Alvin.
Everybody.
Kamara.
Alvin.
Give me Cook.
Who said? Okay.
Who said good?
Me. I have no
Dalvin over
qualm saying that. Give me Cook.
Dalvin over Kamara. Okay.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt or Dalvin Cook?
Hunt.
I'm going to go
Dream
Cook
the
there.
dream.
Woo.
I think it's close, but I'm still going Cook.
Neal, you were thinking long about that one. You want to change your answer? You feel good about it?
No, I'm going to go Cook. I'm going to
Okay. Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook.
Cook.
Cook. I guess.
That one's just tough.
You know what? I changed my answer. Actually, I'm going to go Fournette.
Both in the wrong spot. I just think
so you
Fournette's
guys-
gonna not be a running back in like 2019 or 2020. Like I don't think he will be around.
So Neal, you've got him. You've got him at like 7, and Renshaw, you've got him at like 6. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to mention, I take Devonta Freeman over him. Just want to throw that out there. Yes, Gabe, Devonta Freeman.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Like I said, though, it wasn't really an RB versus RB thing. It was mostly.
I know.
I would take
Cooper. But Jake asked.
I would take Amari Cooper over. Oh, I guess he's already ahead of him. But they're like Amari Cooper versus Dalvin Cook. Like that seems that's weird to me. Devontae Adams, I would take over him. I would take AJ Green. I would take Stephon Diggs. I'd take a lot of the wide receiver, Allen Robinson. I'd take all those over Dalvin Cook. I think he's around like Jarvis Landry is respectable. Or Jake's boy, Adam Thielen. They can go hand in hand. Adam Thielen or Dalvin Cook. There you go.
just go wallow in your obscure, underappreciated den somewhere. Skull on that.
JMic, who did you take? Fournette or Cook?
Very good.
Fournette. I think, I don't know if we talked, was it pre-show we talked about it? We just, like, there's absolutely no reason why Fournette, again, barring injury, there's no reason Fournette shouldn't absolutely just be a monster this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I think
I will not be shocked if Fournette is like top 5 running back at the end of this coming up season. Like that would not shock me at all.
Yeah, I could see close to 15 rushing touchdowns in that offense. And that's why I said I'd take Fournette, because I think he has a better chance of a value gain. So I could just flip him after this season.
Yeah. Tyler and Jake for their Vikings takes. And, of course, they're probably going to spin it back on me now. They probably can't take my Jaguar takes seriously because of my hashtag Duval love. Duval. But yeah, again, it sets up really nicely for Leonard. So, and give me all the Falcons. Everybody and their mom is hating on the Falcons. I do not see that offense being worse than it was this year. Give me all the Falcons. I want to say that right now. All of them.
Tevin Coleman.
Especially, I love Tevin. Even though his vision sucks, he's really good. He's really good.
I honestly think that this team is on the verge of either like maybe pushing for a championship this year or like near a rebuild. They're getting seem to be getting kind of a little bit old and not. I mean, they do have that young line behind them, which is fine, but they've got some real issues, I think, with some money coming soon with Matt Ryan and Freeman, Julio. I mean, they've got some studs on their team, so I'm curious what happens with them in the near future, because they, Super Bowl a couple years ago, but I'm not sure if they'll keep going or if they're gonna have to rebuild soon.
Well, there's breaking news, or not breaking news, but earlier today they were talking how Matt Ryan extension is close.
Right. I mean, they're not going to have a lot of money. They're going to have like 2 McChickens left after the match. Or whatever the equivalent is for Chick-fil-A, because I know they say there's a Chick-fil-A in the new Atlanta stadium that's not open on Sundays. Good call. Great business venture there.
That's like the equivalent of rubbing like 2 silver dollars together.
JMic, you and I are like the only ones entertained. Or maybe just you.
Perhaps. I don't know. I thought it was funny. Sorry. I try not to take myself too seriously. Oh. All right. Anywho. So obviously the draft's coming up. Gabe may or may not attend the draft. I guess we'll see about that since it's since it's right up the road from about 3 hours.
Yeah.
In Dallas.
The only problem is it's like $900. So
yeah, about
Yikes.
that.
Let's go up and tailgate, watch in the parking lot.
Ooh,
they did have a little fun. They had a fun like draft party on I think round 1, and that was like relatively cheap. And so speculating on that, but we'll see. I'm excited for the draft nonetheless. Where these rookies land is always kind of the best part, and then people can talk all their shit of why Saquon's gonna be the 101. Like, why are we deciding Hopkins and Beckham, guys? Those top picks have been thrown around a lot. I've heard like all 5 QBs at 101. Like between Mayfield and Rosen and Allen and Darnold. I mean, it's nuts. I think Mason Rudolph is getting some 101 talk. So
wouldn't that be a Browns thing to do?
The revival.
It's getting insane. What do y'all think will happen? Maybe just those like top 5 picks. I'm kind of intrigued.
I think the first 4 are quarterbacks.
Ooh, bing, 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 bing.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think the Browns trade back, gain some capital. I think Chubb falls on the Colts at 6. If the Broncos trade up to 4 and get their quarterback, or if they wait and take the guard, I mean, that's how the top plays down for me. I think the Colts moving down to 6, they didn't miss out on who they were going to take at 3. So that trade made a whole lot of sense for me from a Colts perspective.
I mean,
yeah,
I think a heck of a haul.
Oh yeah, it's 3 seconds to move down 3 spots. Okay, I'm in. I'm not a Colts fan, and I do that.
I think that was definitely a QB move for the Jets.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Just to move essentially in front of the Broncos and I guess the Browns. Really, just kind of insurance in case the Browns go with Saquon at 101 for whatever reason. So I think two of their QBs could have been gone for sure.
And do the Giants stay or do the Giants trade out?
Yeah,
I mean, Frank tweeting daily about that.
Giants are still there.
I was just gonna say I think it's more likely that the Giants trade out of the spot than the Browns at 4. But that's only if they just get smart and take their quarterback. But something tells me that they're not smart and they want to roll with Eli for the next 3 years.
That'd be crazy.
What about Davis Webb?
Who?
Bless you. So I think that's the thing. Is it? It almost seems like New York holds the keys to the draft, right? So things could get real wild if they don't take quarterback at 2, because all of a sudden, like Buffalo is probably going to give, like Chris's child, my child, Renshaw's all his kids,
my whole clan.
Yeah, for that pick at number 4 to get whoever they want, right? So because Buffalo moved up to 12, they traded with Cincinnati to get to 12, but they're still on the outside of all the fun as it pertains to the quarterbacks. So if New York takes quarterback, Buffalo is going to have to pay through the nose to get to Cleveland at 4. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It'll take their 2 first plus.
Yeah. And then even if that's the case, say they don't trade him, then Denver's sitting there at 5. Like, okay, sweet. We signed Case Keenum for what, 2 years, 3 years, 2 years?
Yep.
2 years.
And oh my gosh, it's gonna be insane. I'm so excited.
Can't wait.
I'm so excited. But yeah,
pay a lot to jump up that much. Yeah, you're right.
I don't think it would be shocking to see the Broncos move up from 5 to 4. Just to guarantee that they're going to get their guy, because Cleveland's going to shop. You would assume Cleveland's going to shop the pick. So pay, I don't know, a third to move up 1 spot or whatever. I mean, I don't know how the points break down, but to guarantee you're getting your quarterback, if you want a quarterback, there's somebody out of Denver was saying that they hadn't given up on. Help me out, guys! The quarterback they drafted, Lynch. Thank you, Paxton Lynch. So, I don't know. I think it'd be smart for Denver to draft a quarterback, but Elway hasn't had much luck drafting quarterbacks in the first.
Or ever.
Everybody wants a quarterback.
Well,
Everybody wants a quarterback.
What you say, Neal?
I said everybody wants a quarterback, huh? Everybody.
Yep.
So Neal, if you're the Browns, who is the quarterback that you take? Or you know what? Don't let me put you in a box. Let me try that again. Who's the player you take at number 1 overall if you're the Cleveland Browns?
I mean, you got to go quarterback. If you have a quarterback that you believe in that much, you got to take him. I understand people like Barkley a lot, but it's like it just doesn't make sense. You know, if you need a quarterback, which they clearly do, you just got to go quarterback. You got to get your guy. There's got to be one they believe in more than the others. I don't know who they believe in more, but I can't see how you do anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense otherwise. Like, the quarterback is the key to everything. So you're gonna want the guy you got that you believe in, so you can't make any complaints and you can't, make excuses why your quarterback didn't work out. So I can't see them doing anything else but quarterback. Which one? I don't know.
Well, no, Neal, you're the GM of the Cleveland Browns.
Man.
I'm not letting you wriggle your way out of answering this question.
I'm wiggling my way out, man. I'm wiggling.
Who's the quarterback Neal takes for the Clock Dodgers All-Stars?
Man, I would probably just go Darnold. Sam, give him Sam, man. Give him the USC quarterback. I don't know, man. There's so many options, but I would go Sam. Yeah.
Renshaw.
I'm on the not Josh Allen train.
Yeah.
So, but everything I read says that they're going to take that one. I'd probably go Darnold.
Boy, I hope so.
I honestly, I kind of like Mayfield, but I don't think the Browns are leaning that way.
Okay.
I'd be
Svoboda.
surprised if they do Mayfield for sure.
I want Mayfield. I'll say it right now. I want it. Well, I did want it before I wanted to see the Browns organization just crumble. But Mayfield at 1. That's what I wanted the whole time. And not to be understated is their hiring of draft guru Scott McCloughan, formerly of the Washington Redskins, who is on record as to saying he loves him some Baker Mayfield. So if he has any input in that war room, and he fucking should, it's Baker Mayfield.
Wait, you don't love Bruce Allen over Scott McCloughan? Like,
Jim,
Bruce
like, you
Allen's
gonna get me started? You're gonna get me on a chi-squared style, just depression rant on the open bar about my poor Redskins.
The summer of Kai leads into the fall of Svoboda.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Gabe, who are you taking? Who's your QB du jour?
At 101?
Yes, indeed.
Well, I think I already made that clear. Mason Rudolph, right?
Oh, my bad. I was not aware that you were sticking with that.
That's who the Browns are taking in the second round.
After they take somebody else.
Double dipping.
We're
gonna get this right, doggone it.
Browns might take quarterbacks at 1 and 4. Oh.
Yeah. We will not lose.
Right. I think it's going to be. I just think it's going to be Darnold.
Yeah.
I think that.
No. Who do you want?
Who do I want?
You're the GM. You're the GM.
Okay. I like Baker too much. I like Baker Mayfield, but it would be kind of between him and I think him, Josh Rosen, and Darnold are like very, very close to me. I'd have to look into more of like what I would want for them specifically and what type of offense would be for them specifically. And like, I don't know, Cleveland is such a hard place to like just live and like revive this city, like for football's sake, it just seems so difficult. Whereas if you're going to the Jets or New York, it seems, or Giants, excuse me, but going to New York just seems like it's an advantage. And like Baker Mayfield in New York, or even Rosen in New York, I even like Josh Allen's been talking some shit, like even him in New York. I'm not a Josh Allen fan, but like maybe that type of like hype around him will help him and make him succeed. I don't know, but I think that those those three guys that I just mentioned would fit well in a New York setting. And I don't think so for Cleveland. I think they shouldn't take a risk like that. I think they need to play it safer and do Darnold. I want Baker to be number one, but I think they should take Darnold.
Okay. If I'm the Browns, I really want them to take Josh Allen. No, I'm just kidding. Josh Rosen. I'm really big on Josh Rosen. I think that he's just going to go somewhere. And I was talking with shout out to my homie Robbie Jeffries of DHH fame. He works in the Kansas University athletic department as well. We talk a lot dynasty stuff, and he was talking through comps for these rookie QBs. And what I was talking through was I feel like Josh Rosen is kind of similar to Matt Ryan in that I think he's going to come in and just be one of those guys who's probably going to win you a lot of games for a lot of years. He may not be all that special. It might not be something where you're like, man, I really love Josh Rosen as my quarterback. But like, I think he's going to be one of those guys he's just going to be in the league forever. Like he'll be one of those guys that just has longevity. I think he's got a good arm. I think it's probably a little better than Matt Ryan's, not as good as someone like Carson Palmer's, like when Carson was coming out, when Carson was really stinking good. But I see him in that mold, like in that same frame. Like you can see that guy just being a steadfast piece of your offense for years to come. So like I can't say that about Darnold because I watched that guy he makes awesome throws, but he turns the ball over into some stupid stuff sometimes. I can't say that about Josh Allen because I watched him do the exact same thing against garbage teams, and he's I don't know. I'm just because you can throw it through a wall doesn't mean that you can be a quarterback at the NFL level. So we'll see about that. But Rosen I think Rosen's going to be the guy that we look back and say, wow, like this wasn't even a discussion. And I love Baker Mayfield too. I can't even trip. I think Baker Mayfield's awesome. It can go either way with him, but I think Rosen's the guy that you take and he actually stabilizes the quarterback position for Cleveland. Rant over.
I think it's fascinating that to even discuss four quarterbacks like this in the top 4 to 5 picks is just kind of really, really something and very unique. And I think we've said this before. This will probably be the year where 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. We didn't talk about Lamar Jackson and my homeboy Mason Rudolph, but I think they have a chance of going top like 15 even to Buffalo or to Arizona. I mean, it could happen.
I think Lamar Jackson to Arizona makes a lot of sense.
Would love that.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
Don't you get me all hot and bothered.
But people were toying on Twitter today about maybe a Pats trade up for Lamar Jackson if they liked him.
Gosh. Stop.
Pats don't trade.
Oh, just stop.
Never know.
I would.
Pats trade up in like the 3rd and 4th round.
Could be a wild night.
Lamar, yeah, if Lamar goes night 1, I will cry, and I'll probably buy his jersey wherever. And I hate Louisville, so that says a lot. I have high hopes. I have high hopes for him. Jake wants us to talk about rookie wide receivers.
No.
All right. There you have it, Jake. Gabe shutting you down.
Also kind of unique that it much like the quarterbacks as far as that between those top 4 that are kind of being, circulated around, there seem to be like 5 wide receivers that seem to be kind of, as far as fantasy, maybe not so much the NFL draft. I think they're going to land throughout the 1st and 2nd round, maybe even 3rd round. But it seems like guys are throwing around their rankings between like 5 guys or so, Sutton and DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley. Washington's hype was, well, I think the last time we were on the pod, we were like everyone was bonkers about Washington, and now everyone's
Yes.
DJ Moore. It's just like going through phases, and I'm just like, y'all quit trying to bust my Suttons. You know, this is game over. But would you all agree with that? I mean, it seems like there are around 5 or so that seem to be interchangeable as a wide receiver 1 fantasy wise. I think we're all just praying that wide receiver doesn't go to the Ravens.
But did you? Well, wait a second. Before we totally dogpile on the Ravens, I kind of like what they've got cooking at the receiver position right now.
Uh-oh.
No?
What do they have cooking
love?
besides Michael Crabtree?
Crabtree and
I mean, they signed John Brown.
Or Jerron Brown. Are they the same guy?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
Just
John Brown.
disrespectful.
No.
Disrespectful.
So who do you want to see in Baltimore then, JMic? Who do you want?
I don't know. I think I'm with you guys. I don't know if I want to see them drafted anymore. That's where dreams go to die.
Oh.
So if that's the case, if I'm sending anyone there, it would be Sutton. So sorry, Gabe.
Yikes.
Sutton to the Ravens.
I know. I think it's going to happen, but I'm just
Really?
about it. Yeah.
Where does the Ravens pick again?
Like middle, like
17?
15?
15? Because I thought Sutton to Dallas made a lot of sense.
16. Sorry, Baltimore
Dallas.
16.
Dallas drafts at 19.
Yeah, so if they get Sutton first, I could see that. But I thought Sutton to Dallas made a lot of sense so they could cut future Washington Redskins, Dez Bryant.
Oh my God! What if he went to the Packers?
Yo, that could be a really
Cardinals.
nice run on receivers, though.
You mean James Washington to the Packers?
They've got the Redskins at 13, Green Bay at 14, Arizona at 15, and Baltimore at 16.
No, at 13. Thank you.
Yeah, we're.
I know you don't.
We're good with Josh Doxson. JMic, thanks.
I like Josh Doxson. I'm just saying.
That's a no for me, dog.
Chill out, Randy. Hey.
Cowboys could happen though, but I think that they. I don't know. It just seems so That's so Ravens.
That's so Ravens.
To jump up and do that before the Cowboys. So they might have to move ahead. The Cowboys might have to move ahead to get Sutton anyway. Yeah. Do we think that Sutton is the first off the board?
Yeah.
As far as NFL goes, I know that is thrown around fantasy.
I still think the NFL loves Ridley. He'll get drafted.
That's true. Yeah, I think he's a first-round wide receiver. I'm not sure if he goes first though.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if DJ Moore goes ahead of Sutton.
I thought DJ Moore.
Here we are. I mean, we're already throwing 3 guys in the mix, and it's like they seem so interchangeable. So it's interesting.
I mean, he showed out at the combine, right? DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I can totally see somebody falling in love. Yeah, right. I can see somebody falling in love with him.
Yeah,
that 3-cone though.
Hips don't lie. Hips don't lie.
Mm-mm.
It's a good year to own a late first and like have 3 late firsts and just stockpile them and hope one hits.
Or early second.
Or early. I mean, once you get out of, I think you can make an argument that starting at 103 to 205, it's all about the same. I like Nick Chubb at 3, but
same.
That's just me. I'm okay. I'd be okay having 6 picks in that range and being fine with who I end up with.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got a little bit of love for Geis and Chubb as like a tier 2, but then I think it's fair to say between 4 and I think there might be a slight tier change between tier 3 and 4, but it's vastly different to me than between tier 2 and 3 and 4. So it's deep. It's deep as far and to get these, it might be a nice I don't like the wide receiver class, but it seems like a nice year to get a wide receiver late versus having to actually pay up for a wide receiver that we've had to do in the past because everyone's so hype on running backs as of late.
Or you could trade your late firsts and get some 2019 firsts and get Nikhil. Just stock up for that wide receiver.
Yeah.
Nikhil.
So hey Gabe, remind me to come back to Matt Threet's comment. I don't want to derail what we've got going, but please remind me to come back to that.
Okay.
When we're looking at those wide
What up,
receivers and Renshaw, yeah, what up, Butcher? He's the man. I like Threet a lot. Renshaw, I think you bring up a great point in that specifically in our dynasty leagues, this is, like you said, between, I would say probably 104. 104, because I like Chubb at 103 as well, maybe even 102 if I'm honest.
I'm glad you're being honest.
To be quite honest, 104, like you were saying, to 205, like the quality of player, like people don't love the wide receiver class very much, but if you look at those guys between your Christian Kirks, your Michael Gallups, your Equinemius St. Browns, a guy who's 6'5", 214 pounds, and people liken to AJ Green and all sorts of things. Like, there's a ton of potential for you to be able to say, hey, like, I got out of 106, got picked up 109 and 202, and got 2 starters for my dynasty league for the next 10 years. Yep. This is the draft for that, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
Shouts out to Tyler Gunther, ESB at 202.
Yeah. Yeah. Shouts to Gunth.
Yep.
For
Been
sure.
wanting to. Let's not talk about ESB. That he's good. Let's just leave him in the second round. That's great. Let's talk shit about ESB.
ESB trash
in the mid-second, because would love.
So do you guys hate Calvin Ridley? Are we just going to gloss over that real fast?
Out of the 5 or so, I think he'd be 5th.
Yep. Same.
Who's your 5th? Gabe, Sutton, Moore, Ridley, Washington? And ESB is your 5? Kirk is your 5?
Okay, so Sutton, for sure, and I've been fighting it with DJ Moore just because of the combine, but I'm trying to ignore that lifestyle, at least a little bit. But yeah, Sutton, Moore, Washington, Kirk, ESB, Ridley, and Gallup are close to me.
You guys are being incredible.
I throw in Miller up there too.
Thank you. I was about to say, you guys are being incredibly disrespectful to my wide receiver 1.
Easy, JMic. Wow.
No, I am dead serious. I am dead serious.
Easy.
That guy, and he showed out at his pro day today. But I was already in love. That guy, you talk about taking over a game. You can look. Don't tell me to be cool. You ever seen the movie Be Cool? Don't tell me to be cool, said the intendant. I am cool. I love Anthony Miller. I think he's awesome. Anyway, I needed to get that in there because nobody brought him up. I feel like you guys were being disrespectful.
I'm sorry. He's a tier 2 guy for me, though.
Ooh, dang. All right.
I agree.
All right.
Still love
better for me than to scoop him up at 201. I hate all of you.
He'll be there at 206. Don't worry.
maybe even 306, JMic.
Ouch.
Now listen. Y'all ever seen a podcast break up live on air? 306. Oh my god! But shout to Jake though. We give Jake 15 shout outs today. Jake says that Richie James. He said that Richie James is just a cheaper version of Anthony Miller in terms of like same player. You can get him like 2 rounds later in the rookie draft though. What do you guys think? Because I don't know much about Richie James yet. I haven't checked him out.
I know Travis May is a big fan of Richie James. I listened to the Dynasty Live, and he likes him. I don't know. I like Anthony Miller. Good production profile. I don't know a whole lot about Richie James. I think he's like 5'10"-ish, 175. I don't know if that scares anybody. I know he's a slot guy.
And by late, you mean like very late, because he's gonna.
He was saying basically, if you can get Anthony Miller in the second, then you can get Richie James in like the 4th.
Right. Yeah, that's gonna be a 4th or 5th round pick, and
okay.
A good, a better dart throw than others for sure.
What about Lamar Jackson, the wide receiver?
Hey.
It's a joke. It's a joke. A joke.
JMic shaking his head so hard we can hear it on the audio.
Lamar Jackson, the Cardinals, drafted as a wide receiver.
I can't. Bill Polian, go sit down somewhere. What Ricky Bobby say? With all due respect, go sit your behind down somewhere. Can't.
All right.
I can't.
Well, okay, then don't, JMic. If you can't, then don't.
Don't do it.
Are we good to stray away from this, JMic?
I think so. I think we hit it enough for Jake's needs.
Yeah.
What
is
wide
Jake?
receivers, that is.
So to remind you about the Threat, what did he have to say?
Okay.
Was it important at all? Was it
no?
Was it porn related? Porn versus
in the chat, he was begging. I mean, he literally begged. He said, "JMic, can you ask Gabe to please, in all caps, not look straight into the camera with that 70s porno mustache? It's making the viewers very uncomfortable."
What?
That's a direct quote.
Like this? Like this, Matt? Are you talking to this mustache from the 70s? Speaking of porn, right? would you rather have the gearing of all times mustache or Saquon? You choose. You choose.
All right, now I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm out here too.
So I'm glad that we.
I was just about to turn my camera off at this point.
You're making the guests uncomfortable. Do you have a role in the Super Troopers 2 movie?
I told y'all off air. We have an 80s prom party this weekend. This is what it's all about. I've been preparing this for literally months. I mean, this is the longest the edge of my mustache has ever been.
I respect the dedication to it. I respect it.
Thank you.
Meow, he's going to be talking about this all night, guys.
You could have went the easy route, got a glue on one, and you're like, nah, I'm not playing that game.
No, I don't play that game.
Fully dedicated. I appreciate it.
Porn
Stash 101 for sure.
Okay, we're done here. We're done here, Gabe. That's quite enough. It's quite enough.
Quite enough. Okay. Well, thank you for your comment, Three. Very appreciated. Thanks for chiming in there, pal. Any other thoughts that we need to get to here, or do we feel like we can wrap up? Closing thoughts from anyone about any sort of free agency moves that happened that you absolutely loved, a trade that you absolutely loved, or a rookie spot that you absolutely need to happen? Any closing thoughts from you fellas?
James Washington to the Packers, please.
You know, I think that is actually a good fit with a very dynamic set of wide receivers there. If it were Adams, Washington, and Cobb. So,
Cobb's done. I'm sorry. I wasn't counting him.
I mean, whatever. Just don't disrespect Geronimo, okay?
Who?
Bless you.
Thank you.
Where's Jordan Matthews end up?
Patriot. He's going to be a Patriot tomorrow.
This is so weird that he has not. I mean, that dude was like a top 30 pick like 2 years ago, and now no one likes him.
He'll be a Patriot tomorrow.
I love Jordan Matthews. I'm buying on the cheap in every league I can get him.
He might be a Patriot tomorrow, and we shouldn't be talking about Malcolm Mitchell the way we have.
Matthews or Moncrief?
Matthews, easy.
Moncrief.
Moncrief.
Gesundheit. Chris,
I think I read something that Matthews had a contract offer from Arizona, and then they went out and signed Bryce Butler today. So I don't think he ends up there.
Nope.
Patriots wouldn't be bad.
It's bizarre,
that'd be a nice spot.
Yeah, I think and that would be so Patriots to just throw that dagger into Buffalo's heart and soul, and a little bit to the Eagles. Even that. All things connect. I wanted to talk about Jordan Matthews tonight because it just seems he has been disrespected in the free agent process, and I'm just so surprised. Bryce Butler has been signed. Kendall Wright has been signed before Jordan Matthews. I mean, it's just ouch.
I've never loved Jordan Matthews. Is that rude to say?
No.
Not at all. But do you like Jordan Matthews or Kendall Wright or Bryce Butler? Just from an NFL perspective, it's just, I think that he is a more worthy asset than both of those guys, among many others. Cordero Patterson.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to argue you on that at all. I would just say I don't feel like never mind. Go ahead, Neal. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying, what do we think is the holdup? Do we think he's just asking for too much money? Because obviously
that might be
people know he has talent. It's got to be a money thing, I would assume.
Right.
Or is his body still jacked up?
Yeah, I got to say it's because of an injury. Maybe he's just trying to heal up.
Is the knee and the chest still an issue? Right? Didn't he break his sternum or something crazy?
Maybe it's both. Maybe he wants more money than people are willing to gamble because of the injuries. I don't know. But I think there has to be something at play because he definitely, like Gabe's saying here, there's guys being signed up over him that just don't make sense, with his talent level. So
I think I read he wants $5 million a year, which means he'll sign for the Patriots tomorrow for 1 year, $2 million.
Exactly. That's why they traded Cooks, baby. It's happening.
Even a team like Baltimore makes sense. Go get him.
Yeah, with Macklin gone, I mean that's it.
Well, he was going to fail that physical. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What about Jordan Matthews to Seattle? Put him opposite Baldwin?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Tyler Lockett.
I'm just thinking of places where he'd be useful. I'm just trying to, or even Carolina. He's probably be their number one at this point.
Oh, uh-oh.
All right.
I think that's all we have for the open bar tonight. Tomorrow we're going to be holding auditions for.
My bad. I forgot. Torrey Smith's the number one. My bad. Torrey Smith's
put
the
my
number
hat
one.
in there.
Oh man.
Crazy.
Yes, Jordan Matthews definitely needed a mention there. So we've got James Washington to the Packers, Jordan Matthews to the CFL. What else do you guys have? Any other closing thoughts?
Lamar Jackson to New England.
Oh.
I want to see it. Man.
Do you think he'd last that long, or do you think they'd have to trade up for that? You think he'd make it to the 20s? I don't even think he will.
I don't know if all these quarterback hungry teams go, trade up to get their guys. I think he could fall. I don't think it's crazy, especially with them getting the 23rd pick or whatever it is. I mean, I think it's possible. But I would just love to see it, man. Lamar Jackson, Brady's successor, just so nice.
Lamar Jackson gets traded in 2 years when Brady's still playing.
Yeah. Right.
Totally possible as well.
Can we get Sony Michel to the Lions? Can we do that?
No, absolutely not. Because Darius Guy's going to the Lions.
Okay, that's fair. Just one of those guys going to the Lions and actually.
They need a running back. Someone needs to go there.
Yes.
Sony Michel to the Colts.
Sure, I'll take that too. That's fine.
And then Nick Chubb to the Skins, please.
Just lining that up perfect for himself.
You haven't thought through this at all, have you, Chris?
It's all I think about at night when I lie awake.
I drive myself crazy thinking of Chubb. All right.
Don't forget about Amir Abdullah.
Who?
Guys.
Dear Amir.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah.
I'm from I'm not from Omaha, but there's a lot of Husker fans around me that still talk about Amir Abdullah and how he should have won the Heisman and how he's the best running back that Detroit had. I'm like, oh my gosh, give it up, guys. It's been 4 years.
Are those the same people talking about Eric Crouch and Tommy Frazier?
Ouch. Ooh, he was a real good NFL quarterback. He came back. He's coaching at a NAIA college now, and he's not even the head coach. He's like the quarterback's coach and passing game coordinator. Talk about a fall from grace for a Heisman Trophy winner.
Man, God bless him.
Brett Favre coaches high school.
Yeah. This is different. He's got MVP awards.
I mean, it's coach where you want to coach, I guess. I'm sure somebody would hire him.
Amir Abdullah or Wayne Gallman, guys?
Amir.
Okay.
Only because I think he's a better player. I wish he would sign somewhere to be a third down back somewhere.
Still holding out hope for Wayne.
Or
I think he's got 1 year. No, maybe 2 years.
Who's our Gallman homie, JMic? Is that Peebles champ?
No, he was I think he was Paul Perkins at one point.
Oh, Paul Perkins, yes. The other Giants running back, right? Okay. Well, they're just next to each other in ADP is why I was curious. Abdullah and Gallman, that's pretty crazy. How the mighty have fallen. Should have sold him off of that one move in preseason, huh?
Yeah, this is his last year on the contract. Abdullah for the Lions.
24, wow.
Any other thoughts? Shall we?
We shall.
Okay. Well, guys, look, guys, this was great. This was great coming to the open bar, drinking, talking football.
We're open again.
Loved it. We're going to be open. Well, we'll get to that later, JMic, but let's say goodbye to our guests first. Svoboda, don't ever leave us again. Super scared then and now. Definitely hope that you are safe for the rest of your evening, your night. Feel free to share anything that you'd like with the people of the open bar.
Oh, thanks for having me. I am alive. We are good now. You can find me on Twitter at the Svoboda DHH. That's SVO. If you don't know how to spell it, it's a tough name. I've scaled back my writing, but I still do ADP mocks for them. Great bunch of dudes. Check out the pod and the site. That's about it.
Agreed. Love the DHH guys. That's family for us. And get back into writing, man. We're waiting. We're waiting.
When my son isn't whining at my feet every day, then I will write again.
Fair enough. Neal, the clock dodger himself.
Yes, sir. Yeah, find me on Twitter at Clock Dodgers. Clock Dodgers podcast. Everything is Clock Dodgers to keep it simple. So yeah, at Clock Dodgers podcast. And also I host a No Halftime podcast. So definitely check that out.
Halftime?
Yeah, No Halftime. So definitely check those out. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. Super grateful, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you guys.
Yo, real quick, Gabe, before you finish out. Like I think a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I just mentioned on Twitter I had been sleeping on the Clock Dodgers podcast. I wasn't really hip to it. Man, your boy Neal's putting in some serious work on that pod. Between the 15-minute motivational spots, the actual episodes themselves, that is your boy's doing good work. So giant shouts to you, Neal. A huge amount of love and respect from this end to yours, man, because what you do is it's fantastic. So keep up the good work.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Feelings mutual.
The open bar openly sponsors Clock Dodgers.
Endorses. We ain't got no money to sponsor nobody. We can endorse though.
We've been paying for the Clock Dodgers podcast. You don't know that?
Wait, what?
All in love. It's all in love. The bank account is full, though. The bank account is full.
In love.
Yes.
Love can't keep the lights on.
So many hard emotions. All right.
Thank you guys, though, seriously.
Hey, all love here too, my man. Renshaw, what else you got to say? Anything?
Find me on Twitter, Renshaw Fantasy. We host a podcast, Dynasty Dads. Anybody that's got kids should check that out. Yeah, Even if you don't have kids, check that out. And then we've got a website, dynastydads.com. I write a little. We've got a pretty good team of writers on there. Yeah, I mean, most of the polls, anybody tweets us, we'll retweet. We interact. I mean, it's fun to be on there. I'm on there a lot. I don't know how much teaching I actually do, but I've got the old podcast Twitter up, ready to interact with anybody on there.
If you don't know how much teaching you're doing, then you know what you're doing.
That's right.
I'll tell you that much.
Teaching people about fantasy.
Yeah, very good. And I haven't said many congrats on the website. I know that was a bit ago, but that's awesome. Moving in the right direction, and definitely check that out. And especially to have writers and create a team and have people around you to build what you're building is great. So good stuff, my man.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, my man. JMic.
Yeah. So just real quick, even to spin off of what Renshaw was just saying, like seriously, Gabe, it's like your coaching tree, if you will, your podcasting tree. Right. It's pretty fantastic, kind of what the GBFU alumni are doing right now. So I mean, your boy Renshaw. I mean, right? Yes, like legit. So Renshaw went from like no site, no podcast, no nothing. It's like, you know what? I think this is something that I'd like to do. And now, but between all of the fantastic guests that he had Debro on last week. Like just what they're doing, like it's truly amazing. So shouts to you, Renshaw.
Thank you.
And obviously, Gabe, like I said, you're basically the podfather of this. I don't know. I'm probably stepping on somebody else's toes when I say that, but whatever. Anyway,
I think I've heard that around. Yeah. Don't say, I mean, thank you first of all, but don't say that. I mean, I brought them in, or first of all, I reached out to say if you wanted to come onto the pod, and people did, willing to show their team, and then they said, you know, I kicked ass on that podcast way more than that dumbass host did, so I could do this. I mean, shouts to anyone who has been on my pod and has continued or even started to do something, because that is great. And if you are thinking about it, just fucking do it.
You're like Antonio Cromartie and We're All Your Kids. Anyhow, so
especially with the porn stash, right? 3
on Twitter at JMic at JMIC check. You can check out the show at the Open Bar FP, as in fake pigskin FP. Obviously, like I said, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays, and off season it's kind of been every other week or so, but typically you get every Tuesday. Additionally, you catch us in podcast form on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Podbean, on Google Play. And I believe that's that. I don't believe we're on Spotify yet, but we are incredibly grateful for all of you guys checking us out. Everybody in the chat, chopping up with us as well. We are incredibly grateful and humbled to do this. We enjoy the heck out of it. And obviously it's awesome to be a part of a community that's doing it well. So with that, Gabe, take us home.
100. I should probably do this more often, but if we have any iTunes reviews in there and we haven't read them, I don't know, JMic, if you've checked in on that, but I certainly have not, TBH. I shall though momentarily, but feel free to drop one of those for fun. We never really say that, but you know, you can most certainly do that. We just care to be here with good people and talk and talk football, whatever. So the live show's the fun part. The podcast is the next part, always released kind of that next day, Wednesday, so you can see it fresh up in the morning. JMic, this is kind of news. We have speaking of our Clock Dodgers sponsor, not an actual sponsor, but sort of a sponsor, endorsement, an affiliate with our show now is I'm sure people have kind of heard about this around the Twitter sphere, is Thrive Fantasy. And then,
say what?
So they got that DFS going. You know, everyone loves that. They launched recently. They kind of do prop bets versus the whole, just PPR or just, drafting your players for a certain salary. It's more so props. So, you hope that so-and-so player, I guess it's MLB right now, so-and-so player gets more than one hit or less than so many strikeouts, that kind of thing. So it's a prop bet type of thing. We don't have a link or a code necessarily. We do have a link, exactly that. We don't have a code, though. It's more so a link. You can find that in our description of YouTube and under our description of the podcast, wherever you're listening to that. So go ahead and check that out, win some money, and we'll win some money together. But with that said, JMic, and Fake Pigskin. I'm sorry, excuse us. Fake Pigskin holds us like a baby.
What up, Regan?
We are a child to Fake Pigskin, and they let us do this. We're up on their site. They're distributing us to all of these podcast distributors, and it's been great. It's been great over in the Fake Pigskin life. So go and check that website out as well. They've got their own subscription service. It's like $5 a month, $4 a month. Like, what are you gonna do? The 2 McChickens, JMic?
2 McChickens.
Yeah. So check that website out. JMic, we'll be back in about what? I don't know if we're back next week, but 2 weeks.
2 weeks at the latest.
At the latest, right? We might
maybe next week.
We might just be on like ESPN by next week. Actually, I think there's been talks of that happening. So
I'm pretty sure Schefter's tweeting that right now.
Yes. So go follow at Schefter Open Bar. But you can follow me at Grab Bag Fantasy. You'll see us in a couple weeks at the most. We've got a big April coming up, big draft coming up. We're excited for what we're doing and who we're bringing on, and it's been fun. So that was a very large outro. Apologies, but fellas, put your drinks up, have a little fun. Even if you don't have a drink, a fist works as well. Thank you, Renshaw. Much appreciated on that.
I got nothing. Sorry.
This is good. All right, and we will see y'all next week or in a couple weeks. Deuces.
Later.